So let's start today's webinar. My name is Yichin Han, and I'm a member of the Orfeo Music Festival team administering today's webinar. I'm pleased to welcome you all to the first session in the new Orfeo Music Festival Spring 2022 webinar series devoted to classical music performance. I believe we have a full and exciting program planned for today. Now, I would like to introduce Larissa Jackson, our longtime music director of the Orfeo Music Festival, who has led the planning and development of the festival, as well as our webinar program today. Larissa will manage our program and be available to answer questions during and after this webinar. Let's welcome Larissa.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. I would like to say a couple of words about the festival, and then we will proceed. Orfeo Music Festival is an international classical music event widely known for its artistic excellence. The festival takes place in Europe each summer, typically in the Italian alpine town Vipiteno, and occasionally in other locations. World-class musicians return year after year to Orfeo to welcome audiences with a series of solo and chamber music concerts, and to mentor the new generation of musical talent who dream of reaching the highest standards in music performance. From the time of its founding in 2003, the festival's mission is to celebrate and promote artistic excellence with classical music performances of the highest standard, and to offer superior education to the new generation of musicians with the world-class artists, to nurture creativity and to build lasting human and artistic bonds.
Okay, thank you so much, Larissa. Now I'd like to encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where we will be posting the webinar series, and of course, share with anyone who might be interested.
Okay. So this is our first segment in the new webinar series, Music is Our World, which is a 3-year initiative by the Orfeo Festival, exploring the role of music in our lives in a variety of different ways, but concentrating on the art of musical performance, which lays at the corner of our musical experience. Now, I would like to take a few moments to introduce our distinguished faculty artists participating today, and welcome Moises. It's great to have you with us today. We're very excited about the masterclass you're about to give, and now I will let you take a lead, but let me just say a few introductory words. Cellist Moises Molina is a native of Honduras. He's an active soloist, orchestra and chamber musician, teacher and clinician, who performed in the United States, Central and South America, and Europe. He has recorded for Centaur Records, Parma Records, Profit, and New World labels, and has served on the faculty of the Orfeo Music Festival in its previous version. Mr. Molina was also a guest artist at the San Agustin Music Festival in Florida for several seasons and participated in International Chamber Music Festival in Lima and Cusco Musical Festival in Cusco, Peru. And Professor Molina is an active faculty member. And now, please, Professor Molina, take over and introduce your students who will be playing today.
Well, thank you very much, Larissa, for organizing this. I'm very excited to be here. And when you proposed this webinar, I was like, wow, this is a great chance to connect people from all around the world. You know, we have Alvin Wong with us today. This is phenomenal. And then we have 2 students, which are from Tuscaloosa, and later on we'll hear students from the other side of the world. So it's really exciting. Today we have Avalee Bean, and she will play Piatti Caprice number 2. And she's originally from Huntsville, Alabama. And then we will hear John Niiler, who is actually originally from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and he is a senior. He's a junior. He's going to be a senior next year. Avalee is she's in between. I think a junior now, right?
Yes.
Yes, I should know these things. She's a junior, yes. So anyway, thank you. So Avalee, why don't you go ahead and start?
All right.
Thank you so much, Avalee. It's beautiful playing. I
Thank
was just basically enjoying your performance. I mean, you have been so well taught, and you also practice it so well that I don't honestly really know what to say. And also I have to say that unfortunately the audio sounds like it's underwater to me, at least on my side. So I try my best to hear what is there, but I'm sure it sounds a lot better in person as well. I guess maybe I'll start with asking you this. First of all, how long have you been working on this, Caprice?
I, s- I started working on it when I was a freshman, but then I put it away, and now I'm bringing it back into my playing because I'm going to play it for a recital next week.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. Actually, that leads to a really good discussion. Can you tell me a little bit about your your from your perspective, how this piece has evolved the first time around when you worked on it and this time when you work on it, and how maybe you approach it differently, or maybe some things hasn't, that you haven't changed, or something that has changed.
I think when I first started playing it, I was more worried about the technical aspect of it rather than trying to be musical with it because there's a lot of double stops and string crossings involved, and I don't know. I was really
It's a
happy.
very challenging caprice.
Yes. And so when I was a freshman, I was in the process of changing, some major things about my playing. And so it was a little harder for me at first, but then now that I've, put it aside and have played a lot more things, it's a lot easier to pick up and I can start thinking about other aspects.
That sounds great. When you pick it up again this year, what is particularly different? Like, how do you feel that is easier, for example?
Um, well, obviously the technical aspects of it are easier, but then, now I can start exploring more phrasing and color changes, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So which aspects of the technique is easier?
Just not getting so tense. For instance, because I was having a big problem with that, like tensing up here, and then which caused my left hand to tense, and then I'd get out of tune.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it sounds really, really good. And I also like that you're really honoring the andante religioso marking, which means, a walking pace and religiously. I think I should change my angle a little bit so you can see my entire cello. Right. And yeah, so maybe just a few suggestions that maybe it helps you to especially when you perform this. Of course, we worry about intonation and oh, do we have enough bow, or things like that. What about thinking the direction of the phrase a little bit? For example, I would like to hear at the beginning. That all these intervals, they're very interesting. I mean, you have, actually I cannot quite hear myself because I have noise canceling headphones. Maybe relax. Like, I would love to hear the tension and the release, but not too passionate. It's still inside.
Yeah.
Can you try a little bit from the beginning, please?
All right.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I don't know if I'm observing it correctly, but I feel that you're not breathing normally,
Okay.
especially when you're releasing the phrase. And then here. Really relax that tension here and be careful of the shoulders, don't come up, but really feel grounded. Yeah?
All right.
Keep going, keep going, keep going. Good, 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 good. Very good. I don't know if it is the audio cutting out or what, but sometimes I hear there's a drop in the long note. So, for example, it has to really connect, and I want to hear where this note is going. Even though some of them maybe, especially here. One sec, one sec. The G, people may lose attention and forget about where it's going. I want to hear. Something like that. Those are the intense moments I want to hear. Is that mean to ask you to start from the end of second line?
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's already so much better. These tritones, the fully diminished chord, these are very, very important. Very good. Now, it's so easy to kind of lose where we are when we're doing really, really, really busy. Yeah? Whatever you're doing, I don't know if this is possible to come through in the microphone, but how about etc. Do you think you can maybe bring bit more in terms of the imaginary direction. It's like Bach Suite in a way, you know, you have these different voices and they are kind of all fragmented and you kind of have to use imagination to connect them together. Do you want to try a little bit in that expressivo section? Yeah, really, really good. One thing that I think it doesn't quite fit is maybe it feels a little too active. I think it's more. Instead of, you know, that feels a little bit frantic to me. Is there any way that you can kind of keep that intensity and interest, but not so outward? Yeah, and I think for expressive purposes, when you're very busy, for example, there, I actually think you can take slightly a little bit of time. Etc. You know, you don't need to feel like, oh, I need to follow the metronome. You know, I have to catch up with it. This is I think this is a relatively freer caprice. It doesn't need to be absolutely on the dot. Just a little bit more, and anywhere you like.
Okay. So I can start from the same spot.
Yeah, really, really good. Um, oh, just a little remark at the end. I don't know what bowing you have. I have different bowings. You know when you come back to there, I have slurred in. I have slurred in.
So I have 3 slurred in and then 1 separate.
Okay, okay. We probably have different additions.
Yes.
Either way, I would love to hear. Where are we now? Oh, we have this, right? And then down, right? Not that.
No.
Maybe somehow you can, for example, release. Sorry. A little bit of, and then release, and then go to wherever you need to go. Do you want to try a little bit from there?
All right.
Right, exactly. So what bothers me is when you play. Here it is. It disrupts the phrase. Do, 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 do. Yeah, that's the resolution. So taper. Yeah, good. Maybe even Or just a lighter kind of, instead of that kind of suddenly fast stroke is kind of disrupting. I'd rather you use a little bit less bow and then air bowing to go to wherever you need to go. Something like that. Yeah, exactly. Well, it's already very well played, so I think you will definitely give a very good performance next week. Do you have any questions for me?
No, I don't actually. Thank you.
Absolutely, my pleasure to hear you. Thank you so much.
Right.
I have a question.
Yes.
Avalee, can you tell us a little bit? Well, first of all, I would like to introduce Professor Wong today, which I have not. I thought I would do it a little bit later. But couple of words that are due, even overdue. Alvin Wong, held by the press for his remarkable technical skill, whole feeling tone and expressive poetry with great intensity. Alvin Wong performed across the Americas, Europe, Asia, and Australia in venues such as Carnegie Hall, Seoul Arts Center, and Hong Kong Cultural Center. He has collaborated with eminent musicians such as Philippe Entremont, Annie Cavafian, and Jean Vong. And he is a great champion of new music. Thank you very much for participating today. I also would like to ask a question, Aveline. Can you tell us, please, about your, well, maybe I'll ask that later. You're staying until the end, right? So I will ask all the students questions later. But I wanted to introduce Professor Wong so we can continue on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ali, for playing. Thank you, Professor Wang, for the great ideas and really good insights. I think that.
Oh, please, just Alvin, yeah.
Look, we're gonna go back and actually, it's great to hear somebody else's opinion. It's so nice to hear that the insights of you hear your students all the time, and after a while they sound the same. So
no, it's really well set up and very well played. So.
Thank you. Now, John Niiler is going to play selections from Rococo Variations. He said because of time, instead of doing the whole concerto. Now, John, why don't you tell us what variations you're going to play?
I'm going to play the opening theme and the first, fifth, and sixth variations.
Okay, good. Let me mute myself first. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Um, John, right? I didn't get the wrong name, right? Yes, John. Sorry. I just want to make sure. Let's go back from this variation. So, generally, very, very well played. And it seems like you're a very thoughtful cellist. I do want to ask you, um, is there any aspect of cello playing that you feel that sometimes it's a little bit not predictable, that is not as reliable as you wish it could be?
Bow placement for certain passages, how to bring out expressions, and like how do I, cement it in my brain where I want my bow to be.
Okay, good. Interesting that you said that you cemented in your brain where you want your bow to be. I'll come back to that part. And actually, this is a very good variation to talk about this. When you play this variation, I think you're singing in your brain, but I think it's not coming through. Partly it's because I think you're listening to your singing in your brain, but not you're playing enough. For example, okay, I always exaggerate when I demonstrate, right? So it's never that bad. But to make the point across, I just exaggerate it. What is the obvious problem here?
There is absolutely no like color or expression to that.
Maybe that's the color I want to go for. But what is the biggest problem of that?
There's no shape. There's no byproduct.
In fact, the connection between the notes is what is bothering me. It sounds like all the notes are a little bit separated, not related to each other. I don't really have any problem with this color, and if you want to make it, relatively calm and relatively clear and not, too over the top expressive, that's totally fine. But I would love to hear how the notes are leading me or us to the next one. Can you try again? Good, very good. I hear. That's what I heard. One more time. Okay. I'm very, very picky here, but I just want to pick on one bar and then you know how to do the rest. Sorry. A little bit that. One more time. Now I start to hear something different. But one thing you did very differently from what you were doing before. What did you do different this time?
I slightly exaggerated and what I was hearing, like, or what I was doing. Like I slowed down my arm a lot more for spots that I wanted to be more tender, and I sped up my vibrato for places that I wanted to be more dramatic and emphasized.
Absolutely. You're much more aware of what you're doing. But you know the most important thing, I don't know if you realize, you didn't look. You didn't look at your cello this time.
Oh,
Which means, and that's very important, which means you cut off the sight. You know, our five senses, the sight always has the highest priority, right?
Mhm.
The sight is nearly always prioritized over hearing. And sometimes, in order to train our hearing to be more sensitive, we need to cut off our sight. And this time, I can hear that your hearing is heightened. And that's partly because you're not looking anymore, you're really listening. One sec. I don't care what boy you use, I don't care how you phrase it, but I want to hear what you want to express. That's the most important thing. And that's the difference. Is suddenly, you know, you're doing something very interesting now. And I would love to hear a little bit more because you're you know extremely responsive. Let's see. Can you go from oh god, this is no man, that's a bad place, right? Um somewhere in the middle for maybe from there. Okay, why do you rearticulate the B
I
flat?
didn't want that C to be. I wanted that to be instantly softer. So I guess I spazzed after that note coming up on the up bow.
Very good. I would love to hear actually more vibrato here. Every note. Yeah, no lazy breaks and gaps in between. One more time. These are the intense moments. Good. You know, one thing I would really suggest you to do is right now, because I'm forcing you out of your comfort zone, so then you start tensing up, right? So when you practice, your arm is free, yeah, not tensing up. And I would have a suggestion for you. Your fingers are very free. That's the good way of saying it. If I have to use this darker term, is not very organized. Why do I say that? Because one finger, fourth finger, is pointing this way. Third finger is pointing sideways, and then first finger is pointing, is pointing all different directions. Which means your intonation would not be as predictable and reliable as you wanted it to be. So I highly recommend, not that I'm trying to advertise for my teacher, but do the Starker exercise, which is to do really get these double stops in position. Do these exercises so you get used to what the hand formation in a more organized way. So for example, these are all pretty consistent. So that every time when you press down the note, you know exactly which position that is in and which intonation you're going to get. Let's see. We still have 10 minutes. That's good. Okay. Now, the cadenza. Good. A lot of good things. But one thing that I think we have to honor is Tchaikovsky's writing in terms of rhythm. So you have orchestra playing. And then you have 30-second notes. But you play. Yeah, I think I'll probably stick closer to the rhythm.
Why is that so? Why is it not more improvisatory there? Why
It
why
can
can I
be
not bend it?
improvisatory, but what I'm trying to say is that the proportion is very important. So, for example, right now when you play it twice as slow, the cadenza, that section becomes twice as big. You see the difference there? It's the proportion that really matters. So, for example, here, what he probably wanted, if I'm guessing right, a bunch of frantic dialogues. Instead of there's no playing nice there. And it build all the way to I don't, what clef am I on? I'm sorry. And yeah, so build up all the way to the cadenza and then come all the way down to something like that. Yeah. So it shows the bigger picture of what is happening with the right proportion. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
It balances the
Right. So for example, do you cook?
Here and there, yeah.
Here and there. Okay. So it's like balancing, for example, the proportion of salt and sugar and whatever other ingredients you have. You can improvise and you can make a dish however you like. But at the same time, when things are out of proportion, then one flavor is taking over the other. And that throws, actually, the taste out of it. You know what I mean? It can go from really tasty to not edible. So that is really the difference right there. It's nothing wrong with using the different ingredients or improvising. But the question is, how do you balance the proportions to make it still make sense and the structure still intact?
Okay.
Does that make sense? Do you want to try a little bit from that cadenza passage? Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. So it doesn't need to be that fast, first of all, and it doesn't need to be absolutely in time either. There can still be freedom, no problem. Absolutely no problem. It's just what I'm talking about is the note value. So when he writes 30-second notes, and you start playing 16ths or even eighth notes, that's when we need when we need to look at. So, for example, another spot is during the cadenza. I mean the chords part. Yeah, that part. It's all quite good until you go to lento. So, for example, that's actually one phrase. But I heard two things. And actually, Tchaikovsky wants to make sure that you know that it's one phrase by writing a crescendo all the way. You see, that's the difference? That's what I mean by it could be improvisatory, but we have to observe carefully what he wrote to kind of get the meaning of it and then improvise on that. For example, he says to mezzo forte, did anyone ever measure exactly how many decibels it is for mezzo forte? What about the first row guy and the guy sitting all the way in the balcony in the top? What is mezzo forte for him? Probably everything is pianissimo over there. How do you convey to him that you're playing mezzo forte? You know, there's absolutely no, there's no absolute values there. You know what I mean? So it's all proportions. Can you go from lento? Yeah, keep going. Good. Good. Now you are much more aware of what the rhythm is. Very good, very good. Now I can really understand the phrasing and the and the proportion a lot better. Good. Let's go to the theme. Very beginning. Yeah. Why don't you play a little bit? Good. Thank you. So, this is obviously, as the name of the piece says, is a Rococo theme. What does that mean? What is the aesthetics of Rococo?
Classically influenced, elegant, graceful.
Mm-hmm. I love talking about proportion today, or at least with you. What else is important here?
Rhythm, durations.
Yes, but also the structure of the phrases. How long the phrases are. In a way, we need to know not only what the Rococo style is, but also where the irony is. What Tchaikovsky wrote. So, for example, even this. Usually when we have downbeats, no? No? That's downbeat. But musically, that note doesn't make sense as a downbeat because it's a weak chord. It goes all the way to the A. Yeah? So that's the irony right there already. It's like, I would think about these things. And then, for example, that's normal. this. Already on the second beat. You know, questions. A lot of questions here. Also, I don't know if you know, but notice, all the phrases end with a question mark. There's no perfect cadence until the end. Try one more time. Good. One thing that I think maybe you overlooked bar 1, 2, 3, 4 of the theme, when you have that is the end of the first subphrase, and then we have to pick up again. Yeah. So if you do this, if you slur it all together, then I don't hear there's a separation of the phrase, that the pickup belongs to the next phrase. Does that make sense?
So are you suggesting altering the bowing to where...
No, you can still play up, but I would... And... Does that make sense? It's not about the bowing. It's about what you do with the bow. It's about you showing me that that's that. Can you try again? Good. I don't know if you noticed. He also wrote forte and then piano. That's a huge dynamic range change. So bring it out. Good. Can you keep going for now? Good. Very good. Is there a way of playing detached notes without sounding that they are separated and unrelated?
Yeah, by not stopping the bow, correct?
No, it's not a technical thing.
Oh.
It's an intention thing. So, for example, I mean, it doesn't matter what bowing I use, really. But more... You hear it? This one is... I'm finishing. But this one... I'm going somewhere. Do you hear a difference? And
Yes.
That's what I mean by... And here, that is finished. That doesn't go anywhere. But if I do... that would be a different story. Do you want to try one last time, and then we probably have to stop now?
Okay.
So da da yum bum be da. Can you lead me from that G sharp all the way to the peak? And the peak is not the loudest point. The F sharp is the loudest point. Da yum bum dee da 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 dee. And then pianissimo. Just from right there. Something like that. Maybe you can... afterwards, look at it a little bit more and experiment different ways of expressing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Great to hear you.
Thank you.
I really appreciate your insights. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Really great to hear your students. Fantastic. So right now we have Matthew. Matthew is in Hamilton, I think, New Zealand. Are you in Hamilton? No, you're not
Yeah.
in Hamilton.
Yeah, I'm from
You're in
Hamilton.
Hamilton.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I did not remember the town wrong. So this is Professor Molina. Matthew is going to play Dvorak Rondo.
Very nice.
So go ahead, please.
Portrait, yes. All right. Very, very nice. Thank you for playing, Matthew. Such a beautiful piece, and it's not a piece that I've played, and but I've heard it, and it was kind of fun to have a chance to actually take a look at it, and so I could help you, maybe give you some insights into this. One thing that struck me as you played. Maybe let me ask you this question. When you are playing, is there anything in particular about this piece that makes you uncomfortable?
I think the main struggle with this piece is finding the variation because it's quite repetitive.
Yes, that's one. Yes, it's one of the big things about it. Anything else?
I think it's also challenging to find the different mindsets and how quickly the slow passages change to the fast passages and how you need to switch.
I think that you actually, from my perspective, I think that because you've been thinking about that, I felt that you were successful in changing the different characters. I think within each section we can go back and work on details and how can you make it a little more, okay, how is this phrase different from this one? What can you do? What kind of articulation you do? What kind of color? What have you? Because in this very sophisticated way of looking at it, I think there was, what I was looking at, if I had turned off the sound and I was listening to the sound, because your intonation is very good, your tone is good. But if I watch you, you physically did not look comfortable in some spots. And so there was no sound and I wasn't seeing, and I was like, you right now, you look perfectly at ease. And then in certain spots, there was like telltale signs that you were uncomfortable. That's why I asked you that. So if we go from that perspective, let me ask you the question again. Are there spots where you get stressed?
I would say the virtuosic bits.
I'm sorry, what?
The virtuosic bits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't we start right before there? And then I'm going to ask you something, okay? I want you to just play one time. Just play it, we'll stop, and then we'll try something. Okay, just play a few bars of the scary spot. I don't know, because actually it doesn't sound like, if I wasn't watching you, it doesn't sound like it's scary, because you're really nailing it. But if I turn off the sound and watch you, you look scared. Does that make sense? So let's try it, just playing it first.
Okay.
All right. Good. Okay, that was actually already a lot better. Okay, so I like to sit there for a minute. Just sit there for a minute, like put your cello on you. But this time, imagine that you are at the dinner table with people you like. Now, if the table is about this height, where are your hands? Can you put your hands right there? Yeah, there we go. Very nice, right? Now, if people you don't like, that might be a whole different story. But when you relax with people you like, it's about like that. Now, play the same passage and now use proper cello technique, but see if you cannot alter not the hands or the arms, but the neck, the shoulders, as if you are having dinner with people you like, and play the same passage. No. You immediately did this. Don't do anything. Do it again. No, you see, you do is okay. This is very important because your technique is very, very good. I think that you stress because maybe sometimes it's not as consistent as it can be. And I really don't think it's your setup, or even I think it's here. And the more pressure you feel around you to perform, the worse it's gonna get. And when you go to an audition, you get one shot. So you have to have the most comfortable so you can make sure that you're consistent every time. That's why I'm gonna come after you about this. So try it again and play the first note and observe your shoulders if they change at all from where you are now to where you actually play. No, play. Play the passage. Do you feel a difference in that?
Yeah.
It's an almost imperceptible difference from what we're doing, but from your sound, you like much relaxed, you feel like you have a lot more control over what's happening. I would really be careful to let that creep in. Because you obviously practice and you're well prepared, but I think something like that can really throw an audition when it's completely unnecessary because you're so well prepared. Does that make sense? Okay,
Yeah.
so now let's add another dimension to a passage like this. What is happening here? What is this?
I think this is just a virtuosic part of the piece that Dvorak, one of the cellists, just to show what he's capable of.
Yeah. It's a transitional passage where we get to show off, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you're uncomfortable, you're not showing off. You're making us uncomfortable. Right? So try it again and really play virtuoso. Where virtuoso looks super comfortable with their instrument. They're not stressed out. Yum pa pa pum pa pa pim pa pa pum pa pa pum. No. Pum pa pum pa pa pum pa pa pum. Right?
Yeah.
So get into that passage and don't stress us out. There we go. Okay. See, to me, that's much more engaging because I am not concerned about you. So when we are behind the instrument in an audition situation and we get stressed, or in a recital or any kind of performance, we are making the event about ourselves. So if you make it not about you, but about the music that you're trying to convey, about the audience, about the comfort of the audience and the understanding of the audience of what you're doing, it completely spins differently. It's different, your perspective on what you're doing. And so if you're prepared, then all these little things don't creep in because they are completely unnecessary for the technique that you have, which is very efficient.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, good. So find another stressful spot. I suspect it's that high B at the end somewhere. Maybe it doesn't stress you out. Where is it?
Yes. I would say that's.
It's an octave leap to a B natural. You probably know better where it is than I do. I'm trying to hunt for my music here. You know where it is?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, then just play right before that, yeah. Okay. Over here, it has a different dimension because the other one was pum, pa pa pim, pa pa pum, pa pa pum, pa pa pum. Over here, you're trying to be more dramatic, right? So when we want to be dramatic, what do we do with our bow?
In this passage, I would use more legato bow and make sure the notes are connected.
Very good, excellent. I think you're on the right track. The sound that you're making there is not as. It sounds like you are putting a lot of force into the bow in those high notes to try to create a dramatic effect that you're after, the legato and all that. Why do you suppose that is, that we do that, especially in the high register as cellist?
Could you repeat the question, sorry?
Yeah, why do you suppose we use so much force in the high register as cellist?
For me, it speaks better.
You think it speaks better? Okay. Let's think about the physics of it. Play the B natural in first position, like the first note of Dvorak, just like the first sound, the best sound that you can make on that B. No, but like, you're starting the concerto. Good, do it again. Do it again. Good, now play it on the B above A natural, the natural harmonic. Same open, don't change, Now play close to the bridge, but don't add pressure. No, but like really play like with the same intent, just don't add pressure. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. You see, when you go for drama, you go for this. You see?
Yeah.
But you don't have to do that. You can get drama by the way the hair goes into the string. So when I said less pressure, you went, so it's either or, and it's neither, right? You can play a lot of drama with just regulating the pressure. Now, why am I asking you this? Because when you have the full string almost, when you have the B natural right here, there is a lot more mass to make vibrate, right? But if you put the B above the A natural harmonic, the string is a lot shorter. So you don't need so much force. So you have to be careful that you're not overusing it. Now, how about the high B? The string is about this short. And if you're using the same force that you use on the first B down here, you're gonna get that pinched tone. You still have to look dramatic and in pain if you want to, but don't overpress your bow over there. Can we try the high B now? Good. Bum. No. It was good. You went like this, and then as soon as you went. Good. Do it again. Give it some good momentum. Bam. But do not do this. Do not muscle it. Good. No, don't move the bow so fast, but everything else is good. Good. Get closer to the bridge. Don't be afraid. Try it. Good. Do it again. Do it a few times until you get that sound that you want. Good. Now play it back and forth. Play back and forth. Don't be afraid. Yes. So, try it. Yes. So your job is to keep the pressure that you're regenerating through arm weight or whatever devices you've been taught, even as you move the bow fast. But remembering that the string doesn't really take that much resistance. So try it again. Keep the pressure. Ya-da-dee-da-da. Good. Now play that passage. Pa ti ti ta ti ta ta ti ta. Shoulder, shoulder, shoulder. Good. Now give it line. Yam pa pi ta ti ta ti ti ti. Isn't it diminuendo there?
Yes.
Okay, so okay. Yam pa ti ta ti 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 ti. Okay. No. Matthew, get at the bridge. Bridge. Good. Do it again. Now, make sure your left hand moves ahead of the bow and anticipates. Don't like get stressed. Okay. Good. All right. Good. Now let's add another device I want you to try. I want you to also, one of the problems that I see right now is that you know exactly where the notes are, but as your hand is traveling from note to note, I'm not sure you know when to leave the previous note to get to where you're going, and sort of just is happenstance. So let's make it in time. So if you saw the device, instead of going pa pi ta ta ta, if you're going ya pa pi pa 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 pa, then you know exactly when to leave for the next note. Let's try that theory, see if it works. Ta ta ti ta ti ta ta, shoulder, shoulder. Good. Now do with triplets. Ta 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 ti 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 ta. Good. Don't press the bow so hard. Use less bow. Keep it at the bridge. Good. Now do. Keep the sound nice and brilliant. Your body open. Okay, now do 4 notes. Taka taka tika 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 tika. Now play yom bi ta ta ti ta tam. There we go. How does that passage feel now?
It feels much more ease, and I'm gaining more sound out.
And so it's very important because what we tend, and I said it about cellists because we are bad about this. We are so bad about this. Violinists have figured it out. Violinists have registered because they can. The moment that you repress the sound, they go like that. We sort of get a decent sound that actually sounds pretty powerful to us, but it doesn't project in the hall. And that used to mystify me. Say, why is it? I'm playing as loud as I can. It's nothing happening. And I began to think, well, I have to think what violinists are doing. You know, in the high register, they're treated like a violinist. Look busy, look in pain, but be very smart about how much pressure you're actually generating to do that, because it will depend on how much the string is being able to take from you. Okay. Now let's put that passage in context. Why don't you go from the right before, and begin to get set for that thing by doing this rather than this. That was much better, at least from what I'm understanding. So as you practice these passages, don't let stress creep up into your playing. Okay, we're almost out of time, so I want to give you one more thought. This is just about the beginning. You know, I watched a few performances of this online, and one thing that struck me as I listened to different artists is the devices they used to make those beginning themes that are, like you mentioned earlier, they're repetitive, to make them interesting, and some of them with very articulation. Feuermann, for example, do something really funny with the bow. He go yum pa pa pum pa pa pa. He was doing down bows, staccatos, ta ta tin ta ta tin ta ta tin, and I was like, oh, okay, that's one way of doing it. Some was yo ta ti ta ta ti ta ta ti ta ta. You know, like different nuances is really when I'm going to make this happen. That's one thing. The other I would think is about in general is the character, right? So he says semplice, very simple. So we cannot get too fancy with this, and yet we have to have just enough nuance so that the different phrases don't bore us to tears, right? Yeah. So now I think you have thought about this some. So why don't you go from the beginning and now show us, now that you've played it a little while, show us what it is that you're trying to do with these few phrases at the beginning. Excellent, very good, very good, very good. Your expression is going to your shoulder. You're sitting there beautifully. You get ready to play? Right? How about if you did this? Let's try it and see what happens. Be as expressive. Don't let it come to your shoulder. Yeah, I like it better. I think if you're comfortable, then what you know begins to come through your instrument. Wow, you're a nice player. Thank you for playing. Yeah, just keep doing that. I mean, it's really well set up. Beautiful sound. Thank you so much, Matthew.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you so much, Moises. That was wonderful.
It's fun. It's fun when the kids can play. I don't have to do much.
And the the next one is Douglas from Melbourne, Australia.
Okay. You see,
Hi, Douglas. This is Professor Molina from Alabama. We have our festival director Larissa Jackson there, and your commodore. So Douglas is going to play hide and seek, right? I don't know if we have time to hear the whole thing, but Professor Molina, you can just stop him whenever you think
okay.
it's enough.
I think maybe if you play up to the next first big tutti, we can maybe start with that, and if we have more time, maybe we hear a little bit more of the development.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Good. You know, this is a kind of a little, not a little, but a kind of a big workhorse for cellists. We all have to play this piece at some point in our lives, and maybe perform it with orchestra if we get lucky. But it's really a fun piece, fun piece, and I'm glad it finally came to light, because all we had was the big D major cello concerto that all cellists are scared of, and nobody else cares. Everybody thinks, anybody else who's not a cellist hears this piece, they have the D major, and they think, oh yeah, I guess it's fine. And cellists know like how wicked that one is. But this one is more accessible and more fun to play, and yet you can learn some of the few things. So I'm glad you get into experience it. One thing, and this is just an aesthetic thing in terms of approach. As you were playing this, I was thinking that you were being very expressive, and you were taking a lot of time in some of the places. And I was thinking that perhaps aesthetically, what I mean by that is stylistically, I should say, that's more appropriate for maybe a later music later periods. And I wonder what would happen if you play the same thing, but you keep it a little more steady and save the relaxations of tempo just for key places, like transitional places, like play the opening yam, param, 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 pam, and keep the large beat. It is moderato, and it is really written in big beats. But then yum, pam, pam. And maybe that would be an appropriate place to take some time. Why don't we try that and see if you can just keep the kind of, get a groove going. And then you breathe, and then you go to the next phrase. Okay, that was good. That was much better. Now, the chords that you're playing right now, they have a lot of gravitas. They have a lot of sense of purpose. But the chords are not the focal point in this whole opening. What do you think is the focal point of this whole opening?
I'd say the higher notes, so like the F.
Okay, that's where you go, that's where you're leading, right?
Yeah.
But if you were playing the chords, what would be if you were to choose something to make interesting without chords, what would that be? Okay, it's kind of a trick question because I'm saying chords, right? But the chords have a top note, right? So now that I said that, what do you suppose is happening here?
I guess the melody is in the top notes of the chords.
Yes. Will you play that tune for me? Just that Haydn C major tune, no chords. Just play the tune. Okay, good. How about if we go? Oh, you whatever bowing. Okay, try that. Keep going, keep going. Okay, so now let's begin to apply some of the affectations of the classical period. The beginning was nicer, so instead of try that. Yum bum bum. Will you try that? You're accenting the last note. Yum bum bum. Yeah, you can play the same length. I like the length you had before, but I feel like it had too much weight. So that was better. Now, play the same thing you play, but this time make the chords fit into that. So that as a listener, I am hearing the melody, the direction, and the chords are part of what's enhancing everything rather than the focal point.
Yeah.
Good. That was already better. I think one of the reasons why you want those lower strings to really sing, but still I feel like they're kind of adding kind of a weight to the direction of the phrase, and I think it's because you're going instead of they can still have plenty of sound, but if they were instead of being ta ta, they were like pick up to the top note, wah. And even if you play them longer, if you want to play them longer and play them earlier, that they still are going somewhere instead of statement. It's like wah, one statement. Wah. If even you go or that I'm still feeling that the top note is what's gonna propel me forward rather than you see what I'm talking about? Will you try that? Whoa, like a pickup to the melody. Yes, I like that better. Now, another thing that I hear is the sound on the bottom strings, and it may just be the microphone. It sounds like they're not speaking, the bottom notes. Can you just do the low two strings or? Yes. Do that several times. Oh, that's a nice sound. Make that sound when you're playing the chord. Douglas, what happens is because they are big strings and because it's a concerto, we want to put a lot of force at that spot on the instrument. And what happens is actually the strings don't speak. So actually the opposite might work out. Find a place on the string that's going to be a little more spongy, and then use nice momentum and see what happens. One, because what we want is the sonority. The moment you have a scratch, the sound does not travel as well because the frequencies are irregular, right? So you want kind of nice regular frequencies that are going to go farther. Try that and see. One. Good. Now give it a nice soloistic momentum without the force. Tum tum tim tum po one. Yeah, I like that. So that's another thing I mentioned right there. Notice I said momentum, right? So we tend to start this piece from 0. Pa wa da da dum, right? Pa one. But how about if we go? The orchestra going ya da tim pa one. Yum, bum, bim, pa one. So you should already be moving by the time you make the first sound. So, pa one instead of pa one. Will you try that? I like it. Now play the whole phrase to the end of this first section. Same thing here. Right now, you already lost momentum. So they're already phrasing it. Next one. So, and then you have yum bum beam, yum bum bum, instead of bum pum. I'm putting the brakes back on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Can you try those two gestures? Wham, 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 wham. Good. Now don't press this bow so hard on the low notes. Do you hear how much clearer the bass is? At least it's coming clearer over here in the microphone. Okay?
Yeah.
Dum, wham, yum. Try it again. Keep the arm nice and open. Good. Now let's put it in context. Go back to the beginning and see if we can get through those two gestures and then go to the next phrase. Very good, Douglas. You know, the two chords that are they are the same length, aren't they? In the part,
Yes.
you play the second one considerably longer, which is slowing you down. You're going but I think you need to be more like equal lengths and maybe different intent. But sometimes you could play them longer, but don't put a different value in them. So, and I think that keeps the thing moving. Can we try that? Good. Now you can play them a little rounder. You can lengthen them a little bit if you want to, but keep the rhythm. Pum yum yum, pum yum yum. Try that. And then immediately go into the next phrase. Tum yum yum, wa. So the melody is still reigning supreme. Okay, play those chords and play them and go to the next phrase. Good. To me, this has more momentum and it has more of a concerto soloistic approach to it. The reason it's important to have that here is because for the next section, we have a completely contrasting thing. And the classical period, that's one of the things that was so important. The Baroque it was more of a expansiveness of the emotion. You had like, if you look at, for example, a Bach prelude, you look at the page, the rhythm looks the same from the beginning to the end, right? There is no variation. That was part of the aesthetics of the Baroque period, developing one emotion to like its biggest expression, right? In the classical period, we have like something that mimics more like what we are, like we change from one moment to the next. And so when we look at the music from the classical period, it's important to find the places where the emotion switches. So the first part is da 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 da, and then we go da 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 da. It's a completely different. So if your beginning is a little bit too much like this, then when you get to the one like this, it's not gonna be as contrasting. So one of the ways I like to think about it, and I cannot take credit for this, I heard it from somebody years ago, is song and dance. So the first part is dance. The second part is song. So make sure that you keep the dance going, and that's why you cannot take too much time. Then when you get to the song, it makes a big contrast.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you play the second phrase, the one right before you go to the song part, see if you can pull that off? Good. All right. I like it. I think it's going to give you more freedom. Now, the one thing you want to be careful is that as you're being song-like, that you don't get too expansive, because it's still classical. So,
Yeah.
so try to, the phrasing is really beautiful. The colors are really beautiful, but feel the pulse within that to kind of rein it together. Can you go from that song part? 1, 2, 3. Good, keep going. Good. Okay, so now, then we have the gestures in between, and you can begin to make it much more interesting by bringing some of the both elements, right? The song and dance elements within one character. For example, if you go here, you see what I mean? And you go, that's just a different way of interpretation. So maybe you can experiment with some of these things and see, what you like. I think that's going to give you more variety as you explore this piece. Now, let's go to I want you to get another shot at the end of this section as you begin to climb to the high register. So, okay, right there. Very nice, very nice. I think it's a very nice command of that passage. The tone is different when you get to about this section of the cello. Why do you suppose that is?
Well, I guess the string is shorter when you're at that point in the cello.
You know what it is, and you're not alone in this. We are very good about this when we are in thumb position, like in high positions. And the problem is when you get to fourth position, we are already halfway through the string. When we are fourth, fifth, and sixth position. But in our minds, we're still not in thumb position, so we're not really wanting to go to the bridge. But I think that if you go ahead and move closer to the bridge, especially on the D string, as you climb up to the fourth position, you might have more success because your tone is very good at the bottom and it's very good at the top, but in between, it chokes a little bit. Would you try that scale again, Chum? At the beginning on the G, and then see if just moving the bow a little bit closer to the bridge already early.
Yeah.
Try that and see what happens. What do you think?
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah. So it's a lot of times it's not because you can't, and because your tone at the top is good. It's just that we don't think of doing that in these positions over here. You know, over years of teaching, this is something I found that's kind of interesting for us as cellists. No, we learned first the fourth position, and then we learn tone position, and we're really good at all of it. And these positions, a lot of times we learn last, or if our teachers are good and diligent, we learn them and we do them well, but we don't think of the bow as being like, has to be in a certain spot, you know, and I think it catches us by surprise in passages like this. So, and you were able to make the change very, very quickly. That was very nice. Keep playing. Go to the next section and let's see what happens in G major section. You know, I don't know why. I like the way you play in this section much better than the way you play in the first section. Why do you suppose that is? What is about this section that makes it, I don't know, it seems that you're more at ease with it?
I think I find sort of high up the A string a bit easier to handle. But
Okay, that's a very interesting. It's usually the other way around, so it's very interesting to hear you say that, because usually people are more like, you know, the bottom part's a little bit more at ease. So what about it feels easier?
I guess there's less risk of it too much pressure, or I guess, but
That's really interesting. This is actually fascinating to me. This because I mean, you really sound much more open and free right there. Play that opening again. Let's see if we can transfer some of that comfort to the first section. So play it again and kind of think, okay, this is nice and comfy. Now, then we'll go back and then play the very opening and see if you can transfer some of that comfort.
yeah.
Good. Now play the beginning. And try to have the same feeling that you had in this section. Okay, good. You know, sometimes actually it takes something because it's time you just went and played the opening and it seems so free, open, and the first one seemed like you were working really hard. And now when you back and played it after connecting those two, it seemed like you were played the first one with a little more ease. Okay. All right, we have a couple more minutes, so let's jump to the part that's different for the developmental material starts, the A minor section. Da, 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 da.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, nicely done. Nicely done. One thing I would like to see more of you in this section is, again, it's like the beginning. The fast notes and the craziness are one thing, but what is underpinning this section melodically?
So like the first note of each.
Yes.
Yeah.
Will you play that like a song? Not connected, more like okay. Does that make sense? So don't play all of the notes. Just go like some sort of intent. Yum pum 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 pim pum. Okay. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Play that note. Yeah. Okay. That's what I want to hear as an audience member. And see you be fancy with all the other notes, but okay. Yum bum 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 bim bum, and the rest is fancy stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Listen, you play very, very well. I like your sound, your intonation, your phrasing. It's just really very, very good. I really think that as you work on it, just really begin to think in terms of, especially the passages that are difficult, contextually, what's holding them together, and all of a sudden it makes the technique and all the other stuff make much more sense.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for playing, Douglas. I really appreciate it. Nice playing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Molina.
It's fun. It's fun.
Well, thank you very much. That was very intensive 2 hours. That covered so much essential cello repertoire. And I'd like to thank our very brave and wonderful cello students, Avalee, John, Matthew, and Douglas. Yes, and our fantastic faculty artists, Alvin Wong and Moises Molina. However, before we go, there is a couple of things I'd like to run through. Number one is I have a comment about the Rococo. Perhaps Alvin and Moises, you can tell me if what edition is the most standard for cellists to perform that you know of. Do you know?
One that is
Yes, the
Witzenhagen.
Witzenhagen. Yeah, that's right. That's the edition everybody does. Yeah.
Do you know about the other, the Kubatsky, the full collection? You know, the green.
The original one, yes.
The original with Kubatsky, 1956, complete works, Tchaikovsky scores. Do you know about existence of that one?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What is your take on that? Do you think it will ever happen that cellists will be playing that version?
Well, they're already doing it.
restored.
I think Isolus is doing it. Johannes Moser is doing it. Quite a few people are actually doing that original edition. I heard it only a few times. I have never actually worked on it myself. Professor Molina?
I think that there's that is, one of the things that I have found in terms of training students, because this is the business, and I am really that, I have found that probably have to stick with the Fitz and Hagen, because when they go to an audition, chances are that the panel will be much more familiar with the Fitz and Hagen. And if they show up with the other audition, the more proper one, they begin to get distracted by that. It could work both ways. They could say, "Oh wow, that's great! I can remember this cellist playing this other edition." They can say, "What's going on? Is that the Rococo Variations?" You know, just because this is what everybody is. That's the most popular version. But you know, it's only so many times a piece can be played. So I think as newer generations of teachers come, maybe it will take.
It'll take a while. Yeah. Okay. All right. So can I maybe we have some questions from the students to our faculty members about performance, about history, about cello today.
I would actually love to flip the classroom and ask the students questions, if that's okay.
Huh.
I mean, you know, Matthew and Douglas are used to me asking them so many questions. This is you know, they are probably sick of it. But I would love to hear from Avalee and John, like, well, what are some of your prospects, and why did you choose to study cello, and what are you planning to get out of this?
Can I go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I don't know, with the cello, I guess I kind of just got into it. I had like a knack at it when I took up with it when I was 9. I had some piano and violin before then, but then it was a lot more easier for me to play than like piano or violin. And for prospects, I'm hoping to do like performing and teaching. I like both of them.
Do you have any specific contexts in terms of performance or teaching, like repertoire or ensemble or solo or teaching at, you know, what kind of context do you have in mind? Or
Yes, right now I'm playing with some orchestras. It's like I'm playing with some orchestras in the area. And also, I come to think of it, I'm in my studio where I teach right now. I'm teaching like high schooler and youngers right now.
oh, fantastic, fantastic. And I would actually love to hear how the pandemic affects your generation.
It's I don't know, I feel like we're coming out of it right now, but last year it was like, you know, it was very unexpected, and I don't know, that was very strange. I feel like right now we're coming out of it.
John, do you have any things you want to add?
About the pandemic.
Or anything in general, yeah.
I feel like our School of Music here in Alabama has responded in a very strong way, and I still believe we're all very productive with what we do. We have a mask mandate here, but it doesn't slow down orchestra rehearsals, lessons, classes. I'm in music education, so I have to go into schools all the time and observe and teach. And I mean, we're still going out, getting out there, making connections. We just had our Alabama Music Educators Association conference or whatever just a month ago in Birmingham, and educators from all over the state were there. So I think we're going really strong. So
Nice to hear. So I suppose you are aspiring to be a cello teacher.
I hope to always have cello students. I've had students for the past year or so, couple of years, but my goal right out of undergrad is to teach at some kind of high school or middle school, some strings or orchestra, and then pursue some further graduate degrees at some point. So.
Cool.
How about Matthew and Douglas?
Yeah, so I'm from New Zealand. I don't know if you know where that is. It's like the bottom right of the world map. Sometimes we're left off the map, but definitely go look it up. It's the best place to have a holiday. So I'm in year 11, two more years of school. Oh no, I'm year 12, one more year of school. Um, and then I'm not sure what I want to do yet. I keeping my options open, but definitely cello will be part of my life forever. It's definitely been strange trying to understand your accents as well. So yeah.
Yeah, and I guess I'm in a similar situation. I'm in high school, year 11, which is just one more year of high school next. And yeah, I'm not 100% sure what I want to do in music in the future, but I definitely want to keep cello in my life and maybe have some students at some point. Yeah.
Excellent. Very good. Well, you guys are really certainly, so you're in high school, you're really a lot of doing very, very well to get poised to do whatever you want to do afterwards. So it's great.
Thank you for your honest answers and for your perspective on your future. Maybe you can rewatch this video in 10 years and have very sweet memories. We have another cello summit, which is on Thursday, I believe, right? On Thursday, so everyone, all the students are welcome to come back. But we are done with today, and I think Yi-Ching just has a couple of concluding words to wrap up today's session. And I would like to thank everyone with all my heart for today's wonderful, very informative, very pretty intensive work and play and joy of music that we all witnessed. And I
Thank
would
you. It's an
like
absolute
to
pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you for having us here, Larissa, and organizing it. Thank you for Professor Wong for your insight. It's great. And the students were playing.
Thank you as well.
all right. Yi-Ching, over to
I just
you.
wanted to say how honored we are to have Professor Molina and Professor Wong to join our program today, and for sharing the knowledge and the art. And thank you, our 4 great performers. And we hope you will join us for our next section, which will be a full masterclass with Jessica Shearer on Tuesday, February 15th, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Before we conclude, I would just like to introduce those of you who might have missed the new dates for the summer's edition of the Orfeo Music Festival, an international classical music event and a one-of-a-kind opportunity for ambitious classical music students, performers to travel to Italy in July to train with world-class faculty performers, participate in their master classes, perform internationally, and gain recognition in concerts, and go on trip and musical tours of historical locations, make new musical friendships and international network of professional connections. This year, Orfeo Festival will not only feature the original festival program in Vipiteno, Italy, from July 4th to July 16th, but it will also offer a special additional program, the musical tour of Russia, from July 16th to July 26th. Students can apply to participate in either the Italian or Russian programs or both. The event is suitable not only for students and educated performers, but also others with strong interest or professional involvement in the arts and music. You can register for the event through March 15th or by March 1st for the early bird registration rate. We would like to thank our sponsors, as well as that include Orfeo Music Festival Foundation, Mayor of Vipiteno, Peter Vogler, Department of Culture, City Council, and Department of Tourism of Vipiteno, Italy. If anyone here has any questions, we encourage you to reach out to us directly or by visiting our website, and I'll type that in the chat. We thank you all again for attending today, and we look forward to speaking with you again soon or seeing you all at the festival. Thank you so much.
Thank you.